Go down to the White House right now. Kellyanne Conway, counselor to the President of the United States, joins us on the North Lawn. Kellyanne, good morning to you. Okay, so you're on the North Lawn. In the Rose Garden yesterday, there was the President with the President of the EU Commission. And the President was taking a victory lap because his, I'm sure folks at the White House feel that the way he has put out there, we're going to have tariffs unless we get a better deal, it's worked.
It has worked, and every time this president is told by the critics and the naysayers and the know-nothing, you can't do it, you shouldn't do it, no one's ever done it, he goes and does it. He pulled out of the Paris Accords, he moved the embassy to Jerusalem, he got out of the Iran deal, he got the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%, and on and on and on, the deregulation, and now the trade. And every time the naysayers and critics do it, they're proving his point about being a man of action in a town of talk, about getting rid of all these Loch Ness monsters and other alligators here in the swamp. Why is it important? It's important because it goes beyond him just keeping a promise to the American worker and American interest to renegotiate these imbalanced, unfair, non-reciprocal trade deals. He's actually putting America first, but by standing shoulder to shoulder with other leaders, in this case the EU, and trying to renegotiate, and as the president said in the Rose Garden yesterday, quote, working toward better trade deals and better deals overall. And this is incredibly important because this president now is taking the model of reforming taxes, historically cutting our taxes and reforming the tax code, and applying it to trade. He got our economy robust. I don't know what the GDP number will be tomorrow, but I guarantee it won't be the anemic 2% or less that the last president told us we had to settle for. It could be double that. Our unemployment rate is less than 4%, or about 4%. Today, the president will travel to Iowa and Illinois to build on his work for the American worker. Last week, he and Ivanka Trump announced a new council, had 23 CEOs in the East Room committing to 3.7 million new jobs or reskilling and training opportunities to make sure that our modern workforce can take advantage of those 6.6 million jobs that are available looking for labor instead of labor looking for jobs. It's a very exciting time in our economy, and people know what they see. The difference between what they hear is true and relevant and important to them, and what they know when they look at their paychecks, their bonuses, their 401ks, and the great opportunities we have under this president's economic stewardship.
So you have this the trade deals. You're going to try to do them one by one. Next up is Mexico. It is as early as today. Yesterday, Larry Kudlow lowballed any type of expectations, and obviously you exceeded them because the EU came to the table ready to deal, and I imagine you guys did too. So what do you know from talking to the president, perhaps, that we can expect from today's meeting with Mexico?
Well, both President Trump and the new president of Mexico have signaled their willingness to work together to try to renegotiate NAFTA and, again, to get a better deal for American workers and American interest. This president is very open to speaking and dealing in a bilateral fashion. I think that's really the difference with this president. He attends the multilateral meetings. The U.S. is well represented around the globe when he does and when his principals do. But at the same time, when he deals in a bilateral fashion, one-on-one, chief executive to chief executive, great results happen. And in Mexico, obviously, this is a situation with NAFTA that's been going on since day one. The president pulled us out of TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a couple of days in, said he would renegotiate NAFTA. If he didn't like the results, he would pull America out of NAFTA, but he's never left the negotiating table. He and his team have taken the case to Mexico, have taken it to Canada. And we'll see. Canada was in Mexico yesterday.
Sure. Kellyanne, there are a number of Republicans out in the farm states who are worried about this hurting their farmers. So will this all, for the most part, be settled before the November midterms?
Well, you're throwing politics in there. Let's talk about the farmers for a moment. The farmers, of course, know that this president is a great friend of farmers. He's made many moves, taken many actions, and kept many promises that have helped them. Obviously, the tax cuts, the deregulation has helped him. WEWS, the Waters of the United States, helped them way back.
Worried about the tariffs.
I get that, but also this week there was announced $12 billion in assistance for some of them to help ease that. The president said something I think didn't get a lot of coverage, which in my view answers your question. He said everybody needs to be patient. These things take time. And that's why recognizing that some may need additional assistance while everything is taking hold.
Okay.
But we can't keep getting screwed, folks. I mean, the president gives you the numbers routinely that all the trade deficits we have with different countries with respect to different industries, and that has to stop. He doesn't want Americans, including American farmers, to continue to suffer.
Okay.
But he'll be out in Iowa today and Illinois, and it will be raised.
Okay. Well, agreeing to increase the imports on soybeans, it definitely helps those Midwestern soybean farmers. Let's talk about something else, too, because our leaders in Congress, they're getting closer and closer to getting more money for the wall. But then you have Congressman Joe Crowley, who is the guy who just lost to the socialists here in the New York area. He's now suggesting take it even a step further than just reuniting the parents with their kids, but giving the kids, those illegal children, giving them money, compensating them for what they've been through. This is a guy who's getting ready to leave. He was just defeated. Why is he saying this?
Well, he's defeated in the primary. We should probably note that Joe Crowley's name still appears on the third-party line on the ballot. So maybe that's what this has to do with. It also has to do with just the fast move to the left. I mean, you move so quickly, you're just going to slide off, I think, eventually. And he was beaten by a person who was screaming socialism, went through the Midwest with Bernie Sanders this past weekend and talked all about it. Doesn't really seem to have a great understanding of markets, let alone the Mideast, as we found out in some very routine questions and interviews. But this is them all trying to outflank each other. Look, I think I'm not in charge of the Democratic Party's messaging, but I don't understand it, because I don't understand why they and some of their enablers in the mainstream media talk more about Russia than they do America, talk more about abolishing ICE and abolishing ISIS. And we're at very dangerous times when ICE, those men and women at ICE, are so brave and so effective. They get rid of the drugs, the human traffickers, the child smugglers, the people who want to come here and do us harm.
And
they're just doing their jobs. And let me make one more thing clear. Yesterday, Beto O'Rourke, who's running against Ted Cruz in Texas, said that those who want to abolish ICE in his party, that it's just a slogan. It's just a bumper sticker. It's not going to amount to anything. Where's he running for the Senate? In Texas, a border state where he sees what ICE and CPB and others do. That's right.
Kellyanne, one of your areas of expertise is polling. You know that the president's numbers with Republicans are higher than ever. It's at 88%. It's like Bush after 9/11. However, with independents, you've lost 8 points. Can you name two things that you believe independents care about that you think the administration might pursue in the next few months?
Well, that's one poll, but I think the president, his whole agenda on prosperity / opportunity and security as themes really should attract these independents, for whom I don't know what else the alternatives are out there for them, because we've just been talking about the other party and I won't any further. But they should be very happy that if they want to start a small business or grow it, if they want a little bit more extra money in their pockets, if they want to switch jobs or find a job with better benefits, they can do all of that under Donald Trump's economy. They should also be very pleased that under this president's global leadership, America is back. We're no longer on an apology tour. We are out there putting America first, and that should attract independents. Why are people independents? Don't conflate them with moderates. People do that too often. Independents say they're independent because they don't like either party, and they don't really like the government. This president is the first president in America's history to never have before held office or a military post. And he's just not a politician. He came here owing nobody anything. That's a classic independent platform. And I think they should also be happy that you've got people like Secretary Pompeo and USA Today today standing up for religious liberty of all faiths. Yesterday, I think owning some of those senators who were preening for the cameras, Bob Menendez basically screaming and insulting Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. I'd love a readout of Bob Menendez's non-diplomatic mission down in the Dominican Republic sometime. So they should look and see who's acting civilly, who's acting civilly and getting things done. Look, poll numbers are fine, but the metrics that really matter to Americans are: how is the stock market? How is my paycheck? How is my bonus? How is my raise? How are the opportunities? How many unfilled jobs are there? What can I do in the Donald Trump economy to improve my life? And the answer is many things.
We always enjoy talking to Kellyanne Conway from the North Lawn of the White House. Kellyanne, thank you very much.
My pleasure.